Us to discuss Delta CEO Ed Bastian. Ed, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks so much for joining us. We particularly appreciate joining us again after those technical issues just a couple of weeks ago.
It's great to be with you, Wilford. Thank you.
So let's touch on that news that we just mentioned. I guess my question on it is not only are you facing weak demand, but are you also facing a bit of a price war, having to follow United's lead so quickly?
I wouldn't call it a price war. We announced late last year at our Investor Day that we were re-examining all of our customer policies with a particular eye on eliminating those that were seen by our customers as punitive. And I mentioned that also when I spoke at CES earlier this year. So this was a path we were on. I think it's the right move by United, and we're pleased to confirm that we're staying on the path and we'll be eliminating those. I have eliminated those since they're not in effect currently and won't be coming back into effect once we get outside this year.
Ever? They won't ever come back, Ed? I mean, how long is that promise once we're into 2021?
No, we're not. I'm sorry, to be clear, we are eliminating them. They're not in effect currently. And that when the period of time that we had already previously announced they weren't going to come into effect, they're not coming back into effect next year. So they're effectively eliminated from this point forward.
Wanted to get your thoughts on the latest from Washington, Ed. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said that they're looking at drafting an executive order that would prevent more airline layoffs or furloughs to get money to the airlines. What can you tell us about that? Have you had conversations about it with the White House?
Well, as you know, Sarah, the first CARES Act was really successful for the industry. It held all the jobs for our people, gave us time to get our bearings following the pandemic in the initial days of it. And as we're coming up on the end of the first CARES Act period at September 30th, it'd be a great opportunity across not just the White House and the administration, across the Hill, to ensure that airline workers' jobs are protected for the next 6 months, and in turn continue with the payroll support assistance that they provided us, the first extension. I don't know whether it's going to be in the form of an executive order or legislation, or if it happens at all, but certainly anything that is put in place to protect workers' jobs, I'm in support of.
Well, 30 days left, Ed, until that moment is reached. Are you planning for the worst? And if that does materialize, what does it mean for Delta? How many layoffs?
Well, we don't know if it's going to happen, so we have to assume it's not going to happen, and then if it does happen, we'll course correct. The only work group right now that we believe we would have furloughs in would be, unfortunately, our pilots. We're working with them, hoping to avoid them. There is a little less than 2,000 furlough notices that we've already had to send out to our pilots. Hopefully, we'll be able to mitigate those through work we're doing with the union. If we can't and we don't get the extension, we'd be forced to go ahead with the furlough.
And Ed, what do you say to other industries that are not getting, bailouts and prioritization from Washington, like retail, for instance, which is a really important job creator and source of private jobs in this country, and can't access the capital markets either? Why can't you just go to the debt markets and raise money? They've been wide open ever since the Fed got involved, and prevent those layoffs?
Well, we are raising money. There's no question about that, Sarah, and we will continue to raise money. I don't think this is a bailout in any sense. This is a decision that's being made to keep employees in place in the face of a pandemic, a once-in-a-century experience. I can't govern whether the airline industry is more or less important than retail or any other industry. All I know is I can make the case for our industry, and the legislature and the administration will make the decisions as to which industry they decide to provide support for.